Coming up on iPads in the classrooms, we're looking at a lot of comic apps. Hi, my name is Guy Trainin and this is iPads in the Classroom from TechEdge, and today I want to talk about comics. And the reason I like talking about comics is, first of all, I'm a comics fan, but beyond that, it's one of those ways to get reluctant readers to actually engage in meaningful stories. And one of the things that people often overlook about comics is actually they have very rich vocabulary that goes with a comic strip. And there are quite a few comic apps out there, and if you look at the screen, you actually can see that I have a collection of about 15 of those, and that is not an exhaustive list by any way. Now, most comics, even in those apps, are for sale. However, what I've found is most of these apps will have between 3 and 5 free comics within that app. So if you really think about it, if you have 10 to 15 apps like that with different topics, you can have more than 50 comics for free in your classroom just with one iPad. So I think that's worth it. And I'm going to show you a few. They fall into categories, they work in similar ways, and we'll start with one of the topics that kids love, and that is Transformers. And you can see that there's different versions of Transformers here, different types and different series actually, but we can also switch directly to purchases. These are the 2 free ones that I found on this app, and what you simply do is you say I want to read, and then it shows up, and you can read it in both orientations, so you can actually turn it around and have it look more like a book. And there's the introduction. And now you can move through the pages. Now, what I like about this and the apps that were made by the same company is they actually move you from panel to panel. And the advantage here is if you have a struggling reader who's just overwhelmed with the richness of the page, because that's the one thing about comic strips or comics that would actually make it hard, is the fact that you have multiple panels, the order is a little bit hard to detect at times, and it's hard to focus. So this ability to focus on each panel separately is actually fantastic. And then when you tap the side, it'll go to the next panel, and you can actually zoom in as well, and then you can go to the next page. So this is Transformers. So the next one I want to actually look at is for younger kids, and this is Strawberry Shortcake, and she's got her own app for comic book. And you can see that here you get a full view of the page immediately, so it doesn't go from panel to panel automatically. And if you tap, it'll simply complete the next group of panels until you get to the end of the page, and then it'll go to the next page. So just tapping on the right-hand side will move you through the story, and tapping on the left will take you backwards. And you can see the visuals are very good, very crisp, very easy to read. So this is Strawberry Shortcake. The next one that I'd like to show you is actually from Disney, and these are Disney comics. And these actually look like the books. So you can see the 2 pages, and you can turn pages. It doesn't have the turn page animation, but it basically works that way. So you can zoom in by tapping on it, but the navigation is more a page-by-page navigation, and you can just move it with your finger from panel to panel. Tapping on it again will actually take it out to a full page view. So tapping on the pictures will zoom in and out, but not more than that. What I love about these is the subject matter, and that's where I do want to talk about choosing comics. One of the things you have to do is you have to make sure that you read those before and think about whether the subject matter is appropriate for the grade level and the kind of kids you have. There are some that are very explicit and you want to stay away from them, obviously. Going with Disney is fairly safe, but you still want to go through and make sure that this is something you would like kids to be able to explore on their own. The last one that I want to talk about as far as looking at the comic books themselves is called Comic Plus Kids. And in this one, you have, again, a choice from many subjects, so this is not as well defined as, let's say, Strawberry Shortcake, and a lot of them are connected to movies and cartoon series that the kids are familiar with most of the time. So there's a Shrek one, for example, that allows you to look at Shrek's previous life before he became Shrek. And there's a sample, so even if you can't read the whole comic book, you can read a sample. So this is called Comics Plus Kids. The last app I want to talk about is Comic Life, and this app allows you to create your own comic book. And this can be as simple as creating one page with one picture or creating a whole comic book. It's just about what you can incorporate. So what you have is you have different patterns. You can enter your words, so you can see that it says your words here, so you know, right? And so you create the text, and then you can add the picture. Here's a superhero, right? With a background and a tuxedo. And you can, for example, bring a speech bubble. We first write something, and then we can move the speech bubble, and it comes out of here. And there are different formats, different panels, and different, you can see there are thought bubbles, exclamation words, and all of that, all right there. You can create multiple pages. So there are multiple ways, rich ways, that you can use Comic Life to bring life into the way students interact, both reading and writing, with literacy. So today we talked about comics as a way to really motivate reluctant readers and reluctant writers, and we will see you next time on iPads in the Classroom.